It's another of these great. I love these films. They're the educational films of the 40s, 50s, 60s. Sometimes this one from 1948. And I guess they thought after WW2, people might not have been courteous enough. Probably still going around calling people Japs and Krauts, smacking people. They used to be in France. You give some girl silk stockings, she sucks your cock. And I think they thought courtesy, common courtesy, needed to show itself here in these United States. So here's a film on everyday courtesy.
We are visiting room 10 to see an exhibit on courtesy.
Room 10.
May I present Mrs. Anderson and her son Bill, who is in the class.
Bill, your mother's ugly.
They too have come watch to see if the people actually display courtesy. Watch how Pete and Marion act as host and hostess.
Oh.
They know that courtesy means showing respect.
Look at that
thinking of
hat.
the other person. Real friendliness.
Your
When
sweater's
Pete mentions the neat
faggy.
job Bill did on the exhibit, Bill is pleased. That's courtesy at work. You can see, too, that everyone
Walk
in the
softly.
class must have done a great deal of thinking
Shove a
about
chair
courtesy
up Granny's ass.
and much work to prepare these
My
posters and the rest of
lady.
the exhibit.
Don't be a pig.
Bill is especially proud of his part in the exhibit. The artwork on this large poster, ways to show that we are thinking of other people. We help to make our meetings with other people courteous by
We need
using
them
such
all
words
the
as
time. What does that
please.
mean?
Whenever we ask for anything, it shows our friendliness.
Why
and
in this
courtesy
piece of
if we
shit
ask
opening the
them,
door for a
please.
young lady? For
On the other
a
hand,
young
thank
transgender
you
man.
is a simple way to repay those
Thank
who
you,
do things
cunt.
for you.
He's a
Another
husband.
expression we need all the time is "excuse me." It lets other people know that you are
The
thinking
phone
of
is
them when you say,
electrified. Excuse me, don't answer it.
Still, another way to smooth your meetings with other people
May
is,
I stick
"May
my
I?"
hand up your ass?
If you must interrupt, 2 words will show that you mean well. Simply, "May I?" Notice how pleasant and thoughtful
No one
Mrs.
talks
Anderson
like
is
this now,
as she
especially on the
expresses
subways.
interest in Bill's ideas on the poster. Bill graciously shares the credit with his classmates.
Bill
It
is a
was joint
swarthy
project, he
European.
explains, during their study of courtesy. While Pete and Marion posed, Bill sketched the action.
Oh, the action?
Please.
You can't just figure
With that
out.
sketch finished, ready for final artwork,
Right.
Pete got ready to play the guest for the next pose. Marion was the hostess, offering him a cookie.
Where's the person grabbing the chair and throwing it at the teacher? God, America was so great back then. Just sweater-wearing innocent kids, eating cookies, drawing pictures of helping people open a fucking door. Why is it bad? Why is MAGA bad? This is the MAGA that everyone really talks about. Make America great again. Courtesy, cookies, fucking sweaters.
Thank you.
Pete showed that he appreciated her kindness.
Pete, you can't just draw this from fucking memory.
For the next demonstration, they needed another chair to make a sofa, and they needed a telephone.
What does this part have to do with courtesy? It's
This
just
You're
has
out
not,
with the
how
this
he
is
made
like
his
how you
spreadsheet.
film, how you or how you draw a courtesy poster. This isn't real courtesy.
It's nothing. They're not even being courteous as they set up the things.
No, I don't see excuse me
Yeah,
or
may I put
please,
this-
may I? Grab that, get off that chair, fuckhead. We need this for the courtesy thing.
They're very nicely not asking, why the fuck do you need me here?
Yeah, what am I doing? I'm not going to stand here with my hand over a cookie, douchebag. Remember it.
Conversation with Marion.
Come on.
Marion had to interrupt to answer the phone.
Now, take
Please
off your shirt.
excuse me.
Yeah,
She was pleasant and courteous as she excused herself.
she's in junior high, but looks 40.
In the next pose, Marion had something important to say, or else she wouldn't have interrupted.
I just got my period.
May I?
My
Marion is considerate
my
of
saddle
her
shoes
friends.
look like cherry jam is spilt on them.
Besides these examples of courtesy, there are others. For instance, Mrs. Anderson's way of constructive suggestion.
Mrs.
And notice how
Anderson.
Bill begins his reply.
It's really quite good, Bill.
Mrs.
But
Anderson
don't you
has a
think these
Junos.
courteous
We
ways
won't
can
talk
be
to
used in
her.
more than just these 4 situations?
What an
yes, you're right,
actress.
Mother. That's why we put the captions on the poster.
Oh.
We need them all the time.
Yes, we do need these
Nice
simple
ass on
expressions
Mrs.
all the
Anderson,
time
right?
to show that we are thinking
Just
of the
picture her
other
there.
person.
Oh!
On the table
Mr.
is
Anderson.
a scrapbook,
Taking
especially prepared for the exhibit.
Thinking
It
of
also
other
showed
person.
consideration
Thinking of the other person.
The
Invitations,
exact
telephone
form of an
courtesy.
invitation letter may vary, but this is an
He drew
example.
the shadow?
Dear parents, an exhibit of our schoolwork and courtesy will be held in room 10 of the Sunnyside School on May 29th.
Whites
From
only.
7:30 to 9 p.m. We hope you can come. Your friends, the class of room 10.
Room 10 sounds like a
Notice
horror
the
movie title.
details about
Room
Grace.
10. Oh, it's got the date, the time, and what you're coming for. All right.
Date and time,
See?
as well as a few words of cordial
I
invitation.
didn't know.
This type
didn't
of
watch
invitation
this.
needs
You're a
no
very courteous
acceptance.
man.
Yes,
The
I'm
class
courteous.
prepared an example of one for their scrapbook.
Dear friends, we thank you very much for the invitation to your exhibit in room
Compliment
10
the girl
of the
on her
Sunnyside
big
School
fucking
on May
tits.
29, from 7:30 to 9 p.m. We shall be pleased to see your work on courtesy.
Why is it in
Sincerely
quotations?
yours,
What does that
your
mean?
parents.
It's like Pizzagate.
A letter of acceptance shows all the same details to be sure they are correct. There is also a sample letter of regret stating why the person could not accept.
I regret that your color does not allow
On the
me
next
to
few
join
pages
you.
of the scrapbook
I
are
regret my
drawings
child
and
thinks courtesy is
poems Pete had
important.
made about courtesy when using the telephone.
Oh. What?
Answer promptly. Don't keep the other person waiting.
Remember that?
Friendliness is one of the main parts of courtesy.
Oh. Message? Oh, for the other to hear. I thought it was like an
It
answering
saves
machine.
time
They didn't have
and makes your
those.
conversation more pleasant if you speak
Why not just go into
distinctly.
the other room? It seemed pretty close. Just talk to him. Say
It's
what you
courteous
will.
to be brief. Someone else may want to use the telephone. So much for the scrapbook.
Wait till AOL shows up. And
Over here is a poster that another student made. Be a good listener. It pleases the speaker to
That
know
guy
you're
on the
really
right is so
interested in
dead.
him. And then, too, you can learn much by listening carefully. Mrs. Anderson is being a good listener now, isn't she? And then,
if she
there's the
wasn't,
matter
she'd
of
have a black
introductions.
eye from a
How will
husband.
Bill introduce his mother and his teacher?
Mother, may I present Miss Barton, our teacher?
See how
May
Bill
I
shows respect
present?
to his mother by mentioning her.
Yo,
first,
this bitch
because
tried to
she is
teach
the older
me
woman who
math.
presents Miss
That's what you
Barton
get
to
now,
her.
by the way.
And he helps their conversation get started.
They
by
start a
explaining
lesbian
who Miss Barton
relationship.
is.
It's so nice to meet you, Mrs. Anderson. Bill has told me how much he enjoys your class.
And your
He's
hairy
learned so
pussy.
much about courtesy. How did you teach him to make such a polite introduction?
Perhaps Bill should explain that, Mrs. Anderson.
Oh.
Well, in our practice in class, we learned that introducing people was just a matter of showing respect. Marion,
She later found
I'd like to introduce my
Instagram
friend
pictures of the
Pete.
teacher
Bill
showing her
mentioned the
hairy
girl's
muff
name
and tits.
first,
Oh,
and showed respect by presenting the boy to her.
yes.
You can mention either name first with two boys of the same age.
Here's a girl
Bill,
wearing a
this is
grunge
Pete.
shirt from the
Pete
90s.
Dalton, Bill Anderson.
Would you please
How do
enter
do,
me in my
Bill?
mouth
Hello,
and my
Pete.
pussy?
Now put me on the
So the
rotisserie.
poster that grew out of this practice is included in the exhibit.
Oh.
And that's how the
Man
class
to
learned
woman,
that
what does that
introductions are
mean?
Really easy.
Fucking
Just remember to show respect.
genderists. Hey, a little respect, huh?
Besides showing respect, your introductions can help the conversation to begin.
Oh.
Notice how Bill's mother introduces her friends,
My
Mr.
God,
and Mrs.
how many
Hall.
people don't know each other here?
Mrs. Hall, this is Miss Barton, the teacher in this room. Mrs. Hall is Joan Hall's mother.
Miss Barton, as hostess,
Roger,
offers her
over,
hand.
over, out.
Next,
Get-
Mr. Hall is presented to Miss Barton.
Mr.
And
Hall.
finally, Bill is presented to Mr. and Mrs. Hall.
Mr. Hall is
Remember the order?
25 years old.
There's a technique to shaking hands.
He would not let
No
go.
one likes to have his hand crushed by a bear, nor to clasp one like this, sometimes referred to as dead fish.
Yeah, that. It's fucking Bobo's handshake. Yeah.
And so the introductions
Grab the
have
young
been
boy's
completed,
balls while
and
you
the group
shake his
settles
hands
down
and
to
let him know
friendly
whose
conversation.
balls.
Well, it's time to go now. What have you seen here?
Stupid
That is,
hats.
What
I've
have
seen
you seen
that.
besides the posters and scrapbooks
Faggy sweaters.
of the exhibit?
How do you do?
As you
How do you
watch
do?
the host and
How do you do?
hostess, their pleasant manners standing at the door
Look
to thank
at
their
that.
guests for coming.
Oh.
As you see the guests reply graciously, you realize that it's the simple things.
Simple
being
things.
friendly,
Yes.
thinking of the other person,
What
and
don't you
showing
see in this
respect
picture?
that make up everyday
What has been
courtesy.
blatantly
Real living
absent
courtesy
from this
has made the
whole
evening a
film
pleasure
that
and
made
a success.
America a much better place? The end. Yeah, it was. It certainly was. I love being able to sit here, play these films, and wax fantastic over the good old days. No fucking horse shit going on back then. Hell no.